Hello, everyone. My name is Enherman. Thank you for joining me again on another episode of Shoppers Engage. Today, we're joined by Javier, and he is going to be talking about his startup that is surrounded by turmeric.
Mhm.
Javier, if you'd like to please introduce yourself, and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Javier, the founder and CEO of BYVL, which stands for Bring Your Vision to Life. Um, Really, the foundation and the basis of me wanting to start this was just, me being, that kid in the classroom who was doing my work, but I always had a vision. I'm a very creative person, so I always had like a fantasy world per se in my mind, or always like I could take like an object and then like go in my mind and create a whole, world around it. I guess it's kind of like an acronym that connects with everyone. Everybody has a vision of the higher self, the better self, and if you're goal oriented. So I kind of wanted to create a brand around Bring Your Vision to Life, which can incorporate really anybody that is trying to bring their vision to life. So we started off with our first product, which released last Wednesday, a week ago, which is turmeric powder. We started with turmeric powder because it's our first product. One, we believe health is wealth. I think that's something everybody can agree with. And two, we wanted to establish credibility by providing a health product. Just really getting the basics down of logistics across the ocean, wrapping, measurements, kind of just the basics of anybody releasing their first product. And turmeric powder seemed to have a lot of good properties: anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. You can use it as a skincare mask, alleviate signs of aging. You can put it in tea, food. You could put it in milk. So it's kind of like a multi-purpose thing, which goes back to the bring your vision to life aspect. We want to give you a multi-purpose powder, and then you be creative, and then you do what you want with it. So that's kind of like the basis of the BIVL acronym.
That's awesome. And that kind of leads me to my next question of how did you end up in the CPG world, right? Consumer packaged goods.
Mhm.
Turmeric is, well known across the board. I know you talked about why because of the health reasons and the benefits of turmeric, but where do you see your product line expanding? Are you focusing on turmeric, maybe expanding it to more definitive products, or do you see your product line being more focused on health benefits?
I think right now it's important to just focus on one thing and grow it. So right now I am focused on health products, and you said consumer packaging. So I am a product guy. I like you said, bring your vision to life. I like to manifest things into actual tangible items. That's kind of what I like. I studied architecture for a period of time, so I like things that are also aesthetically pleasing, and I do like packaging. I think packaging matters. I think that Apple has one of the best packaging. It's very sleek, aesthetically pleasing, but it's not too much where it overwhelms you, in my opinion. But right now, that's where I'm starting at. I don't like to close myself off to anything else. It 100% will expand into other markets, into other areas. I do see in the future it being a brand of intellectuals, connecting products to the intellectual community. I do feel like that, there's corporations, tailored towards athletes, tailored towards, all types of things. But I really feel, I know you've been in college. I really feel for those people who are really at medical school, biology, really in the library, 5 to 7 hours. I think they deserve a platform or at least a brand tailored toward them where they can have an identity. So that's where I do see Bivol going to in the future.
Oh, that's and I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because when we had first met, this like the consumer goods or turmeric was never even discussed, and I think that's where you talk about your free mindset, right?
Mhm.
So, what have been some of the your challenges, right, that you didn't expect that you had to overcome for this brand, and where do you see, where are you allocating most of your time right now?
I the first hurdle was being original, right? We do live in a world, fast paced computer, AI, Chat GBT, you know, but I do see that um, becoming copy and paste, and the originality being taken out of things. So I think the biggest hurdle was just staying original and just staying true to myself and staying creative. It's easy to do, copy paste, or even innovation. Innovating is just taking something and then tweaking it or putting it a different way. I am an innovator, but I also just want to stay just original, because sometimes you could be doing something, if you haven't done enough research or gone far back in history, you could actually be repeating it.
Right.
So the second hurdle I would say would just be work life balance. I work 10 hours a day as a broker, 7 to 5. It is, tiring at times, but you still got to, after I'm done selling, for my company, I got to come home and then work on my company. So, but it's all about, for me, is just belief. That's why I have belief back there.
Right.
You can see
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
Constantly doing something. Sometimes I'd be dead tired and just watch a 30-minute YouTube video on how to build a brand. I get at least something, some notes down on a piece of
Right.
paper, at least something. So those would just be work-life balance and originality, I would say.
That's great, man. I think it's the passion, right? I think doing whatever it takes, no matter how tired you are,
Mhm.
and it's always for the greater goal, right? And then in this case, it's like bringing a healthier product to the consumer, right? To the broader. And I think my following question leads me to, how did you end up with your turmeric, right? Because from the research I've done and from the turmeric I've come across, there's so many different variations of it.
Mhm.
Whether it's you look at the quality, you look at the color,
Mhm.
you look at where it's coming from. How did you identify which turmeric was right for your brand?
So it actually goes, so two things. So my business partner, Connor, he actually worked at GNC. He was a sales associate at GNC. And so he was, more familiar with the turmeric than I was. So he would notice that a lot of people will come in anti-inflammatory, whether it go from older people, athletes, people that just run, for fun. And he noticed that it was selling out a lot, but GNC, they either had like a pill version, or
Mhm.
you have the powder in a small form. So that was kind of one aspect. The other aspect of me is I'm a reader. I read a lot of books. I usually read history, economics, politics, like that. So I like studying other groups, other civilizations, what has been done. And as we know, like turmeric powder, Southeast Asia, in Asia, parts of Africa, like it is very, very central to, their food processes, how they make things. So that kind of like grasped my attention, because I didn't really know about. I just knew it was orange spice.
Right.
I didn't really know, what it was. So I'm a naturally curious person. So it sparked my curiosity, because one thing I do is if I like study, turmeric, I don't just study turmeric. I study where it came from, the culture, where it has been traveled, how it's been used in trade and stuff like that. So that kind of sparked me to do, more research. So we kind of, combined it, the curiosity aspect to like the natural logical aspect of my business partner working at GNC and seeing that, that product was selling out. So that's kind of how we came to the, idea of turmeric.
Awesome. And that's where, like, when you mentioned turmeric to me, I'm very familiar with it because I come from a Asian household, and my mom swears by it. My dad has it every day. And yeah, when I was younger, the taste profile for me, I wasn't used to it. But over time, not only the health benefits, but over time, if you pair it with the right ingredients, it tastes very good.
Mhm.
So, how do you have it? How do you use your product?
Oh, my mom is a heavy tea drinker. So
Right.
my first experience with turmeric, I didn't even really know it was turmeric. I just knew it had that, like you said, the taste.
Right.
Um, so I actually started, my first experience was turmeric. Every time I had a cold, flu season, allergies, mom definitely made some tea with turmeric in it. So that was my first experience, unknowingly, really. And then yeah, so now that I'm in turmeric, I'm getting more into the turmeric lattes. Those are starting to come up. Like I got a TikTok now. I'm in the TikTok generation, so that's my feed. Uh, but yeah, so right now I'm still on the tea, doing the lattes, trying to figure out kind of what's my niche. I'm going to start getting it into the food. I had a friend make turmeric with pasta in it. It was pretty
Right.
good. So kind of like the creative aspect, like I said earlier, just trying to figure out what I could do with it, pretty much.
Absolutely, especially now, I think turmeric is on the uprise, right? As you mentioned, your your friend and your, I think, business partner,
Mhm,
turmeric is being more involved in more ingredients and more dishes,
mhm,
and I think that's another testament to its value, right, in terms of health benefits.
mhm.
And as we begin to wrap up the interview, what is next for your brand? Where can people find you? What are you going to be providing? What's on the outlook for your brand that
Mhm.
people should be excited for?
So first, you could find us on Instagram at byvlux, byvlux. We also have a website, byvlux.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn. The name would be BYVL Limited Liability Company. Those would be the three main platforms that we're on right now. In terms of what's next, what next would just be getting feedback and then capitalizing off what customers deem as, hey, what we could do better. So I would say perfecting would be the next. Definitely product design. Definitely getting more into design, and then I would say the revenue that we create reinvested into research. I think we're at a time of rapid growth as humans in general. So I definitely think we could benefit into research and then creating a more potent product. It may not be turmeric, but it's definitely going to be health based. And we want to, like I said, innovate and invent. So definitely want to put some revenue and reinvest into research.
Awesome. Well, Javier, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Your profile will be posted on Shoppers Engage, and for those that want to shop through BYVL, then we can definitely provide that through our blog post. So thank you again, Javier, and we'll be in touch with you down in a few months and see how you're doing.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I do appreciate it.
Of course.